In any democratic nation, citizens are taught from an early age that voting is their most powerful weapon. It is believed that by casting their vote, the people choose their representatives and shape the future of their country. But as modern democracies evolve, an uncomfortable truth emerges. The global electoral system is a farce, orchestrated by elites who already control everything behind the scenes. If we truly live in a democracy, how is it possible that, in so many elections, the same interests of major corporations, banks, and governments remain untouched, regardless of who is in power? Why, after every election, do society's structural problems persist, or even worsen? The answer seems simple. Elections are not about giving power to the people. They are about legitimizing a system that is already in control. What elections actually do is maintain the illusion of choice and freedom while the system continues to operate in favor of the powerful. What most voters don't realize is that even before the ballots are counted, the elites have already chosen their favorites for key positions. Are we truly living in a democracy, or is our freedom just an illusion designed to keep us complacent? Most elections in modern democracies are a sham because the candidates who reach power are often selected long before the voting process even begins. Politicians do not rise to the top based on their ideas or the will of the people. They are handpicked and promoted by a small group of elites. Organizations like the World Economic Forum, WEF, the Bilderberg Group, and the Council on Foreign Relations, CFR, often wield more power than governments themselves. These secret meetings and closed circles exist to train and select the world's future leaders, ensuring that the same corporate interests continue to dominate global politics. A prime example of this is the Young Global Leaders program from the World Economic Forum, which has shaped figures like Emmanuel Macron, Justin Trudeau, and Angela Merkel, leaders who rose to power with the full backing of these elite networks. These programs mold young politicians for a single purpose: to ensure that global politics continues to serve elite interests rather than the needs of the people. How can we still call this democracy when the real choices are made by those already in power, not by the will of the people? The next step in ensuring that the elite maintain control over the system is total domination of the media. In a world where most people get their information from news sources, the media has become an essential tool for manipulating public opinion and shaping elections in favor of powerful interests. Major media corporations, which control the global news cycle, are almost always in the hands of a small group of billionaires and companies with their own agendas. These entities have the power to decide which stories will be emphasized, which candidates will be promoted, and which issues will be ignored. If you don't believe it, just look at how leading presidential candidates are consistently boosted by media giants, while others, especially those with ideas that could truly challenge the status quo, are marginalized, ridiculed, or simply ignored. The media has the power to construct narratives that help the elite maintain control, and most of the population is manipulated without even realizing it. In a true democracy, the media would serve as a bastion of freedom and transparency. But in reality, it conceals the truth, creating a landscape where the elite continue to play their power game without resistance. One of the greatest distortions of modern democracies is the increasing privatization of elections. In the past, political campaigns were largely funded by public donations or contributions from ordinary people. Today, the reality is very different. Electoral campaigns are bankrolled by major corporations, banks, and billionaire individuals. These financiers are not acting out of altruism, they have their own agenda. The money flowing into campaigns serves one purpose: to ensure that candidates who represent elite interests rise to power. When a politician depends on a small group of wealthy donors, their autonomy, and the will of the people becomes completely compromised. Throughout the election process, candidates exchange favors for funding, promising policies that will benefit investors and big businesses, while the promises made to voters are quickly forgotten. The democratic process has become an auction where political choices are bought and paid for by corporate giants. If elections are being bought by those who already hold all the power, where does that leave the power of the people? In a world where elections are manipulated from the start, where the media controls public perception, and where money has the power to choose candidates, democracy loses its true essence. The elite, who already control production, media, and financial systems, will always ensure that the system continues to serve their interests. What does this mean for the future of democracies? If voting no longer holds real power, and if the elites continue to dominate the electoral process, are democracies actually transforming into oligarchies? True democracy, where the people choose their leaders and shape their future, is becoming an increasingly distant utopia. What we see now is a democratic facade designed only to legitimize elite control. The real question is, how far can this manipulation go before people wake up to the deception? Now, I want to hear from you. Do elections truly reflect the will of the people, or are the elites pulling the strings behind the scenes? Leave a comment, share this video, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the hidden forces shaping global power. After all, when the electoral system becomes a sham, who really chooses the world's leaders?